This is Texans TV.
We are ready to rock in Houston. Rock and roll.
Hey, greatness today, man.
Touchdown, Texans.
I got cleats for all y'all.
That's when you think you've seen it all. There's always something else.
Where would you rather be right now, man?
Welcome into Texans 360 off the bye week. Hope you're feeling good and rested. I know I am, but we're back to football again this week. So we got another great 360 for you. We've got episode 3 of Puro Texans. We show you my football story from Kevin Pierre-Louis. But first, one of my favorite parts of my job, sitting down with a player to do the deep slant. We've had some pretty cool moments this year. Roy Lopez got shouted out by The Rock. Terrence Mitchell got a deal from Whataburger. I don't know what's going to happen this week, but you know what? Fingers crossed that it's another big one because it's always a lot of fun to catch up with a player. Check it out. It's the Deep Slant 101 presented by Xfinity. My guest, 13-year vet wide receiver Danny Amendola. Great to have you, Danny. You pretty much hit the ground running when you signed here with the Texans. So now that you had some time under your belt, how has the transition been for you so far?
It's been great. You know, I've known a lot of guys in this organization and have a huge respect for you know, the people in this building. So it was great to come in and get started and get rolling. Very thankful, very very happy to be here. So you know, it's been a really good, really smooth transition. I'm from Texas. I'm from Houston. Got a lot of friends here, so it's been great to be in the hometown and playing ball.
Had you been coming back to Houston frequently?
Yeah, my dad still lives here. I have a lot of friends. I live in Austin, a couple hours away, so I'm here in the off season once a month, hanging out, playing golf, usually just seeing my friends and spending time with family. So it's been great to get here and get some work in, play some ball in front of the home team. So it's good.
All right, so you signed here on September 9th. 4 days later, you're catching a touchdown pass against the Jags. You were not with the team this offseason, so kind of walk me through what was that like for you, signing with the Texans and then just having to get down here in a hurry and then learning the plays that you knew for week 1. What were those 4 days like for you?
It was a whirlwind for me. Came in, was in the team hotel, didn't really know my bearings around, the stadium, kind of the new kid in school type of feeling. But really familiar with the playbook, really familiar with, Tyrod and some of the players here, Cooks and some of the guys. So, if I had any questions, I would just ask them and, just trying to build, just trying to get better and trying to improve here in the building and make strides in the right direction.
I know the coaches had said they gave you your little package to work on for week 1.
Yep. Now
that you're this many weeks into it, do you have a knowledge of the whole playbook, or how close are you to really knowing the whole thing? I know it's not a full off season, but still. Yeah, with your experience.
There's a couple things in camp I'm sure the guys went over, and it was new to me because I wasn't in camp here. So I'm just trying to build, take what I know the first week, build to the second week, so on and so forth. And, we're halfway through the season now, and, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of my role in the team. Obviously, I'm trying to expand my role and trying to get better, try to help this team win.
I know it's hard for players when you have to just pick up and suddenly move to a new city, a new team, but did it make it easier coming back to Houston?
No doubt.
I mean, You at least know the freeway system, the
exactly.
City a little bit.
The traffic system, if you will. Yeah,
that's true.
It was smooth. Like I said, had a lot of familiar faces. Dylan Thompson, a guy who's in player personnel here that just did a great job helping me out, getting me in the right direction, off the field, what I needed to do, and make everything easier on the field. So, like I said, just great organization, great people here, and I'm excited with this second half of the season holds for us. So.
All right, what about the rest of the year? What are you looking to sort of get better and improve at for the rest of these games?
Just anything, whatever we can do to win games, and go out there and compete our tail off, and we got a bunch of winnable games coming up. Every one of them's in our eyes we have a chance to win, and we have a bunch of guys in here willing and eager to fight for 4 quarters and get it done, and just practice, get better, try to win some games.
All right, good stuff. Danny Amendola, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you.
Big week for the Texans. They're heading to Nashville to face the Titans. It's the first of their 2 matchups this year. And we do like we always did. We caught up behind enemy sidelines. I had a chance to chat with Jim Wyatt. He's a senior writer and editor for TennesseeTitans.com. Check it out. It's Enemy Sidelines presented by Microsoft. My guest this week, Jim Wyatt. He writes for the Tennessee Titans as a senior writer, senior editor. You can find his work on TennesseeTitans.com. Hi, Jim. 6 wins in a row for the Titans. I mean, can you believe it? Especially with all the injuries and all the adversity that team has gone through this year. What's the mood like in Tennessee, and how surprised are you where the Titans are sitting?
I have to say I'd be lying if I said I was not surprised, because this team, the way it started, lost a game right out of the gate against the Cardinals, lost to the Jets in week 4, sitting 2-2 with really kind of a murderer's row schedule coming up against 6 playoff teams from last year. I think there are a lot of people in Nashville that thought, okay, I don't think the team thought this, but I think there are probably a lot of fans that thought, okay, if you can almost split these games, you'd be happy. And then to win 6 in a row, it's been really remarkable. Some of the teams that they've beaten, the way they've beaten them, doing it without some key players who are out with injuries. And now you've got people talking about not only winning the AFC South, which I really expect the team to do at this point, but then can you hold on to the number 1 seed in the AFC? And I think that's a realistic possibility. But got to keep playing well, and the injuries continue to mount, and we'll just see how this team can handle them.
Yeah, the Titans defense, you mentioned them really stepping up when Henry went out, and I think everyone was really impressed in that win over the Chiefs where they held Mahomes to just a field goal in that game. So that pass rush has been really effective in getting to quarterbacks. Who have you seen really step up for that defensive front?
Well, I mean, it's been incredible, really. I mean, this defense was really one of the laughing stocks of the league last year. But something has kind of clicked, and that something is really the pass rush. Harold Landry with 10 sacks in 10 games, really having a breakout season. Jeffrey Simmons in the middle, 7.5 sacks. He's got 5 sacks in the last 2 games. They have been really, really disruptive up front, and that's kind of allowed the secondary to kind of be able to play a lot better. This defense has been so good that people in town are trying to come up with a nickname for it, which is not something that people are used to right here. They've been called names before, but names,
not good ones.
Yes, that's right. And I don't know if some of the nicknames are good when somebody's trying to push the tickle monsters, because they're one of these that kind of just harasses you and drives you crazy. I don't know if that's going to stick, but we're dealing with when you're performing well and fans are enjoying it.
Well, Jim, thanks so much. Appreciate the time, and we look forward to the matchup on Sunday. Welcome back to the Ford Studio. Texans 360 rolls on. Well, linebacker Kevin Pierre-Louis has gotten some more playing time in recent weeks. At Miami, had a fumble recovery on special teams. You get to find out a little bit more about the 8th-year linebacker in My Football Story, the guy that we call KPL.
From Connecticut, born in Bridgeport, but raised in South Norwalk. Childhood was great. Can't take anything from it. Like a lot of people, had its ups and downs, but it allowed me to appreciate, the moments that I have now. Sports came into the picture at a very early age. I happened to not grow up in the best of neighborhoods, and I live with my father. And so what he wanted me to do was make sure I had no idle time to, as he would say, run the streets. So every season I was playing in sport. Football, basketball, baseball early on, ended up being lacrosse later on in my career. And I played those sports every season. In the summer, I'm doing AAU, another baseball team, just sports. Which is funny because my father really didn't care much about sports. He just wanted to make sure I was active. All he cared about was school. Went to high school in Stamford, Connecticut at a school called King School, which is what it's currently called now. At the time, it was called King and Lohawood Thomas, KLHT. Football there, at the time, it wasn't too good, if I'm gonna be, blunt about it. But myself, my best friend Silas Red, Eric Joyner, just to name a few guys, there's honestly a plethora of guys that really turned the program around. I remember Coach Gowans, the head football coach, seeing him chase high schoolers around, trying to get them to work out, and from an early age, we decided we're going to change the program, and that's exactly what we were able to do. Go from losing programs to undefeated regular seasons, and really just propelling King football to a better place than where it started. Through hard work, was definitely blessed in the recruiting process. At the time, Connecticut wasn't a big pool of athletes, so it was a battle going to camps and really showing out and showing that Connecticut had skill. I was fortunate enough to be, ranked. I was number 10 outside linebacker in my class. Had Silas Red, who was a highly ranked guy as well. Kyrie Fort, another highly ranked guy as well. We were the top 3 in the state. So we had a bunch of offers. We were very fortunate with that. Thinking about life after football, I singled my decisions down to Stanford and Boston College, and I was very fortunate to choose Boston College. I would say that school definitely changed my life for the better. The Jesuit community definitely helped me out. Once I got there, I dived into all the extracurricular activities. I just, did a lot of community service, volunteering for different things. I just wasn't a football player there. Going to Boston College was great, athletically, Growing up as a young kid, I kind of took a different path mentally. I didn't really have aspirations of going to the NFL. What I always wanted to do was go to the Marines. Don't have an exact reason on why. It actually ended up being brought up in the draft process quite a bit, but football just paved the way for me. I remember senior year comes around and we're about to play Virginia Tech, and reporters are sitting down with me before the game, and it's like, how does it feel knowing that you're going to be playing on Sundays? And I've heard chirps about it before, like, oh, you're going to make it to the league, you're going to do this. And I was like, I'm not sure if that's what I'm going to do. I remember I told the reporters, I'm not sure how that feels because that's not the steps that I'm going to make. And it was funny because they actually reported that. Happened to be, once again, playing Virginia Tech, happened to be making a bunch of plays, fortunately. And they pretty much say online, the crazy thing is he doesn't have plans on going to the NFL. And from that experience, once again, my father, who never truly cared about sports, he stepped in, thinking that maybe looking at certain options, anything but the armed forces for his own personal reasons. And I was fortunate enough to always work hard, and football happened to be a great plan B. With the mindset that I had heading into draft day, I truly was able to take it for what it was, and that was just truly a blessing. I still knew that it was an opportunity of a lifetime. And I'll never forget, it's the first time I ever watched a draft. I didn't really grow up watching the NFL that closely. My family was a bunch of soccer players. Remember on draft day, I see a couple friends get picked up. I'm congratulating them. And then next thing you know, I see a 425 number. I remember I'm looking down at the phone. I almost didn't pick up. I'm like, Seattle Seahawks, there's no way. Someone's playing a joke on me. So I look down on the phone, I let it ring for a little bit, and then I pick up. And the GM, said, hey, it's Seattle Seahawks. Would you like to be a Seahawk? Now, mind you, like I said, I didn't have aspirations of going to the league, but I couldn't hold back my excitement for this opportunity. And at the time, went down a list, talked to all the coaches, let me know I was going to be on the first flight tomorrow morning. I left Little Norwalk, Connecticut with 2 suitcases and started my life in Washington. My NFL journey has been a great one. For myself, it's just been chasing opportunities. Started off with Seattle, drafted there, was traded to Kansas City. I got a great chance to play a lot of defensive snaps at Kansas City. And from that moment on, I just wanted to chase opportunity. So from there, went to the Jets for a year, then went to the Chicago Bears for a year, then went to the Washington football team for a year. And finally, hopefully finding a legitimate home with the Houston Texans. The game of football is, I keep saying the word blessing, but it truly has been. A player like myself just constantly reminded myself of, where I've started. Times of struggle, times of witnessing struggle, and to be able to be in a position where I can truly take control of my life and make the choices that truly benefit me and my family, to help those that might be in need, to be able to give me a platform to share my stories, to help those that are kind of like myself. And I can show kids how you can change your life, how you can put yourself in a position to really change the dynamic of what your family was before. And I'm just forever grateful for this game.
We're back with more Texans 360. If you've ever had a chance to go to a Texans games, you've seen some of our diehard fans, and you may have seen this duo. They wear masks, they wear capes, they're called Masked Mayhem. On this episode of Puro Texans, we find out more about their story and how they got their really cool identities.
Hola Texans fans, my name is Rose y bienvenidos al tercer episodio de Puro Texans. Today, we're unmasking the men behind the masked Mayhem, which are some of the Texans' most famous superfans. Mario and Rob met in 1999 when their sons played on the same T-ball team and have been mejores amigos ever since. Mario's father owns a popular Mexican restaurant, Laredo Taqueria, here in Houston, and are best known for their delicious menudo and amazing tacos. Let's head inside and get to know the men behind the masks. Hi y'all, it's so nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much for having me. Why did you decide to start dressing up as a masked man?
Well, it started off with me back in 2012. When I went to the game the first time, I seen a couple of people dressed up, and I was like, why would you come to a game like that? You know, who comes to the football game dressed up? You know, I'm a big wrestling fan, and so I started doing it that way. I ordered on Facebook. This happened to pop up. This guy selling Texan masks, and I was like, hey, let me order one. So I ordered a couple of them and started dressing up like that.
So I'd end up taking the picture, grabbing their phone, taking a picture, and so I'd do a lot of that. We'd stop every different spot in the tailgate lots, and so after a while I was like, this looks like it's kind of fun. I don't want to be the photographer anymore. I wanted to be in the pictures, and so we kind of started that way, where I'd actually borrow one of his capes. He had a couple capes that when he started to get a cape made, so we kind of had a blue and a red one, and I would start to wear that one, and it really was just a cape, and we started out with like a luchador mask.
You know, talking about the flashiness of your costumes, where did the inspiration come from, aside from Lucha Libre, anything else that kind of inspired each of your individual costumes that you wear?
It comes from Ric Flair, him having the greatest robes of all, and then Rob's with his ideas. He's like, hey man, let's do this, let's add this, let's pop a collar.
Before we kind of had a name, we'd be walking around and we just kind of had our capes on. We didn't have the collars, that we weren't known as Masked Mayhem, so a lot of people would call us Nacho Libre or something like that, and they'd, hey, it's Ramsey, and they would chase us down and ask for pictures, and then they'd ask us, well, who are y'all? What are y'all's names? And then we figured out we got to come up with something, and so we felt like, all right, we kind of bring our mayhem, kind of that atmosphere to the game, so we said, well, let's call ourselves Masked Mayhem.
From all the things you have, which is a lot, what are some of your favorite items and why?
Me, personally, would be the wrestling belts. When they see it, when people see it, opposing teams, fans, our fans.
For me, I like some of our capes. Again, I think the themes, it's just good to represent the theme for the game, but I think there's some that the collar, and just kind of like Mario was saying, the bling, right? There's some, the sequins and the bling, on it, and they just stand out.
Talk us through your game day prep. What's it like getting ready before heading to the NRG for a Texans game?
Man, that usually starts the day before. So the Sunday game, either Rob or I will call each other and we're like, hey, what color are we wearing? Well, what are they doing? So it's Liberty White, so we're wearing white. All right, we're wearing white, and we got to make sure, because the shorts, we have like 3 or 4 different pairs of shorts for Liberty White. We're like, okay, we're gonna wear these, we're gonna wear that. Okay, we already know the boots is white, we already know the socks, and the mask, and then we have different chains. So we'll talk about what chains it is, and we're like, okay. And our ritual is going down 290, 610, and stop at that Whataburger. Stop at that Whataburger on Kirby. That's our ritual.
We go in this, and this is how we drive to the game. We've got our capes, we've got our mask, we've got our chain. People that we sit next to, season ticket holders, they never really knew what we looked like. We have the mask on the entire time. They've never seen us without it. I think Mario gets a lot of people from Laredo that come in here, he'll tell them, from Laredo Taqueria. They come in here every day and they don't realize it's him when they see us at the stadium.
What's your favorite part about Texans games?
We get a lot of comments from people just, oh man, those are great. You guys, that's awesome. I love those. You'll get people, we're just kind of walking along, and then you'll see someone that's been running after us for 10 minutes trying to catch up with us. Once you typically get a crowd to start to take a picture, that could take 10 or 15 minutes, and we want to make sure everyone, if they want a picture, we get it.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. We're excited to see you at the next game. And remember, Puro Texans!
A portion of this broadcast is sponsored by Cigna. Together all the way.
We're back for the final segment of Texans 360. Taste of the Texans was back after a brief absence due to COVID last year. It was held in NRG Stadium. Some of the best restaurants in Houston. You got to check out their food. You got to mingle with some former Texans and Texans cheerleaders. And it was all for a great cause, combating hunger in Houston. Check out some of the highlights from this year's Taste of the Texans.
We're here at the 12th annual Taste of the Texans event. We're so excited to be back and celebrating all the great food, the great restaurants here in Houston, and raising money for a great cause.
This is a fantastic event with food, folks, fun. You're going to enjoy yourself. I know you've been sampling the food already. We'll go over some of the rules and regs of voting because this is a competition. It's a fun competition. And again, all for a great cause.
This is one of our favorite events, and we get to support the Houston Food Bank and the Texans Foundation that allows us to do amazing work in the community.
It's a wonderful event. Anytime I get a chance to come out here, hang out with the McNairs, hang out with all these fans and all of these sponsors, it's a wonderful time, man. We just appreciate them. Cisco, HEB, Kroger, everybody giving back to help give to the community. It's top notch, man.
I don't know about you, fam, but that makes me so hungry. So I'm going to grab a snack. We're going to wrap up Texans 360. Thanks to all of you for watching. Thanks to Tyler Suddarth for working so hard on this show. And as always, go Texans.
Thanks for watching, and go Texans. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell for new content.